know, if the Valiant want to switch up things up, let's say the Shock comes out and they decide to run some damage dealers.
Right.
If they want to change some things up, and they go, let's say, Winston 3-3, guess who's going Rein 3-3? The Shock. Are you going to beat them in that game? No.
Probably not.
So they know, if they beat you with the damage dealers, they have you. This composition they have on defense, you're putting so much pressure and stock in Rascal and Violet being able to get things done. You're playing on a Risa on defense with the Zarya and the D.Va against the damage dealers.
This is a composition that doesn't have to actually split itself up necessarily on this defense. Reinhardt-based compositions do. Fact Fiction blown up immediately, just completely wrecked. Didn't realize how much damage he was walking into there, and the ult from Super made sure he wasn't able to get away.
Now they have to wait. Fact Fiction, he'll come back with the spawn. He's going to play the Orisa as well, which is the right move here. Play the long poke game. I mean, get agility to spam this door down.
The Valiant almost have one tick of permanent progress, and they got it. With 5 players, they've been able to actually get 1/3 of their way to the goal. That third of percentage doesn't actually decay away if they're off the point.
They'd love to have Sinatra and Choi like set up in the little hut here, but they're in the back
Shock
as well.
Taking their sweet time, Matt. Almost 2 ticks of permanent
Yeah,
progress here. There it is, 2 ticks for the Valiant. The Shock have hardly raised a hand in resistance yet. But eventually they're going to have to do something. Kareem keeps hitting these huge sleeps on key players for the Shock. They need them in the fight. Fact Fiction's down again, but at what point did the Shock actually come up and contest? Fact Fiction has returned. Here comes San Francisco, now bursting from the building on the right-hand side. They have to stand up, but Agility just gets rid of Troikoven immediately. Low as he is able to break line of sight, get to safety, and he'll be able to go again.
Now you have Super on the point here. He's just got to like juggle around this shield.
Barrage
the nano boost here that comes down. The nano plus the EMP. You do have the transcendence that gets off. This is not going to be enough though.
What a bizarre defense from the Shock, man. They spend so much time inside, whereas the Valiant are out there getting their tan on. Well, not really a Volskaya. Maybe. There's ultraviolet radiation.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
We don't have any ultimates here.
This time actually able to get away with his life, which is an improvement over his last 2 forays into enemy territory. Sinatra would love to try and get his charge to 27 right now.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Going to be hitting as hard as he would like to. It always feels like a matter of time with this Spyro composition. The Valiant just break through. Agility's as close to...
Hey everybody, what's going on? SpyroKid here, and today we're doing a bit of a stream that's a little bit different than usual. Starting today at 1 PM, we'll be watching the Stage 3 finals of the Overwatch League, which is the Shanghai Dragons versus the San Francisco Shock. Now, why is that? Well, I felt like that I needed to stream the moments that lead up to this, because when Shanghai beat the Vancouver Titans yesterday, I was kind of shocked, but I was feeling like they kind of deserved this, because all of last season they did not win a single match. I believe that's correct. I'm not quite sure, but they went so heavy on DPS and whatever on the last game on Vancouver. Which is pretty much my home team. They didn't have very much of an idea how to deal with it properly. So this is supposed to be really huge. I'm really looking forward to see what they can do. And right now, the Overwatch League Twitch channel is just streaming a little bit of the match of Los Angeles Valiant versus San Francisco Shock. I haven't seen that quite yet, and we all know that the score now was 4-0. But I'm kind of interested to see how it goes. So let's take a look.
ASF doesn't last much longer either. The Shock are forced to try a couple looks, but there's no permanent progress gained on the point for the Valiant, so that's a definite win for the Shock.
Rascal uses a rally there towards the end. You're going to see a lot of these players switch up. They go back to the Reinhardt 3-3. Bring the Batiste in the mix as you see Fact Fiction at the top of your screen. He's going to go to Reinhardt as well. So you're going to have basically a Sombra Goats version here for the Valiant, where Shaft has been very good on the Sombra throughout the stage. Going up against the Shock, they're going to run the 3-3. The only difference, you got the Batiste, and this time you have Ana in the mix.
There's no support ultimates to stop this EMP from being effective.
And just for a note, this is not live. This is just a recording from last night. The live action begins today at 1 o'clock.
Need to keep Fact Fiction up, but there's the EMP. It doesn't matter, it's not enough to keep Fact Fiction alive, though, and the Valiant have lost their shield bearer. He was close to shatter. That does not come off well for Los Angeles at all.
And it's the first setup, Mitch. That's what they needed. So the Valiant, they decide to go in. They nano boost Fact Fiction because they want to get the Biotic Grenade out of Violet. And they get it. The issue is that KSF in fact get hit by it. The shield goes down. It's just a timing issue. And if that Biotic Grenade just hit the 2 players of the Shock, you would have saw the EMP go off to combo with that nano on the Reinhardt. They would have just plowed on through. But because these 2 players, Fact Fiction, KSF, get hit by the Biotic Grenade, they have to back out, messes up the EMP timing, allows Violet to build a nano boost, and everything then goes to Shock's way.
And it's a monumental reprieve for the Shock. I mean, that EMP was potentially what would have ended them in that round. Now, excuse me, it'll be a couple of fights before that becomes an issue again. Fact Fiction has that Earth Shatter, but the Valiant invested heavily in that fight for minimal gain. Sinatraa throws the Graviton Surge here in close range, and Super, it's the Fire Strike. Charge is on out. He's off the map, by the way. Sometimes it's about sending a message. Super just has his fingers laced together and watching Sinatra's screen now.
As soon as he hit the charge, he lined it up where he was going flying off the map. He just started cracking his knuckles, like looking at Sinatra screen, like, hey man, what are you doing? Like,
Hey,
we're good, right?
What's going on with you? How's your game going?
He takes Fact off the side of the map. So Fact probably tried to shatter out of the grav. So if you're a little bit off the ground and you shatter, you can actually kind of like launch yourself out of the Graviton Surge. Actually try and push forward in the room, but not able to do so. Doesn't connect with anything either. So you grab to the high ground here. As you're, what are you getting off that?
Shaxx, oh, that was so clever. Trichoban actually threw up the defense matrix there. Shaxx was probably want to try and get in, but he didn't want to risk that at all. No EMP yet. Waiting his time. Oh, that's big! That's so big! Oh, I get shivers from that.
They can turn this.
EMP comes in, but Violet already found Shaxx. Sound barrier was there for Mothman. The Shock of everything they need. KSF, it's sheepishly trying to back away. What a big shatter from Super.
There are going to be so many teams in the league who go back and watch this specific match. How many times have we seen an EMP and Violet or Moth, both, either one of them, whoever has their ultimate, they get it off.
I wish there was a stat for that.
Whether it's Transcendence, Sound Barrier, they have not been hit by any of these EMPs, and that's the Valiant game.
Yeah.
They're playing around that EMP, and they're just, the Sound Barrier is coming down. Violet spots a Translocator, pops the Transcendence in the right time.
In a world,
perfect play.
In a world where you're going up against an Ana, the sound barrier is much more important. You have to hit that because your Transcendence could just get cancelled out. Trichoban's sleeping right now, but he's on the high ground, so he's not at any risk, and it's still going to be a Graviton Surge. Oh, the Amplification Matrix is thrown up here. Is a sound barrier going to be enough for the Valiant to protect themselves? Well, no, because Custer just got blown up. Fact Fiction is trying to step back, but he'll be chased out as well, and there's 23 seconds left in this round. The Valiant once again looking down the barrel of another disappointing attacking run.
Positive for the Valianteers, you have Grav plus Shatter. They don't have any support ultimate online outside of this nano boost, but that only is going to be good for one player.
It's time. The Valiant, this is their last chance. Pushing forward is KSF, just a little behind Fact Fiction. Super put to sleep. He's put to sleep. They get a shield on Super though, but he's still going to get charged away. Trichoban comes in with a bomb and doesn't catch anyone. In fact, Fiction ended up charging to his death. He thought he was good. He thought he was going to take down Super. But the Shock protected their protector. And that's another defensive hold here for the San Francisco Shock. He thinks he will be happy about it. No, he's furious. There's steam coming out of his ears right now. It's war.
He gets pushed one way, gets a nano boost as well. You see, he is fired up. They only give up 1 point. No
Shock seems to be really dominant.
For the Valiant. As the Shock, they know they have the Valiant right where they want, and we'll see if they can get it done on offense after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Let's take a look at what's been happening on the competitive Overwatch subreddit. The ticker at the bottom shows the headlines from it right now.
It's grim tidings from the City of Angels for the home squad. Los Angeles Valiant do not get any percent on point B as the Volskaya as a map's made up of 2 points, A and B. That's how you finish the map. The Valiant, I mean, this is very bad. The Shock don't even need to capture all of point B on the attack. Just 1/3 will be enough.
And I think with what we've seen from this match so far, I've actually been way more impressed. Well, okay, so I expected this match to be very close. So we see Super come out here on Widowmaker. They give him one opportunity a map. Now he goes back and they'll swap. I don't really think this is the Valiant necessarily playing poorly as much as the Shock coming out, showing us a lot of different looks, playing very, very good. They bring out Rascal on Pharah again, Sinatraa on Sombra. They're gonna have Violet play the Ana with the Roadhog and Orisa in the mix. So another interesting comp. Not really interesting, one we haven't seen from the Shock all season.
I mean, it's a composition that's decent at breaking down shields and getting first picks. KSF is down. Normally the Hanzo is supposed to play here. Oh, he's done. He's so done! Zip him up!
It's the second day in a row.
I had to.
We had a zip him up. Fact Fiction long-range sniper on the Orisa.
Oh,
they got Violet, but yep, there goes Custa. You bring Violet back in the mix. This is gonna be a fast point A take here for the Shock.
Trihoben just gonna chill behind the shield there.
He's gotta jump off. He's gotta go.
Yeah. He's been given a formal invitation to the edge of the map and he's gotta go over. But the Valiants are in tatters.
I tell you what though, I mean, it may not look like a KSF actually just picking up that one kill on the Moth towards the end, going back and trying to just contest out of nowhere. Probably prevents this from like a quick push by the Shock. As you lose your Mercy, you don't have it for the Pharah in the sky, you need the Mercy here. Shax will fall again.
They're knocking on the door, man, but it's not Ding Dong Dash. They're here to stay. Shax's taken out early. The Sombra once more off the table. Never had a chance to get an EMP. Fact Fiction, very clever. Puts the Supercharger on the high ground, but it may not matter because Rascal, he has the nano boost here and he's looking for Custa. Will the Moth get away? Rascal wielding the Fly Swatter. He gets Fact Fiction instead. And now the equine anchor of the Valiant is down. Rascal is finally finished off here at KSF, has a lot of work to do on his own, but Julius is there. The barrage might save the day, it's 2. Is that enough? Sinatraa comes back in. He has an EMP, he'll hide behind the barrier until it's time to go forward, and there it is. He's still looking for Shax, but the healing was there. So annoying. Custa getting so much healing with that Valkyrie here. He and Kareem together. The healing is good for the Valiant. The wings are out in more ways than one. And now it will be Super taken down. That was close.
May have been a little bit of a force there from the Shock as you just had Super, Violet, and Sinatraa alive, and an Orisa, Sombra, Ana combination, and they try and use some of those ultimates. Make it work. Bring the Reaper back into play. So you'll have Reinhardt, no Zarya. So the Reaper, this is interesting that we see the Shock go to the Reaper consistently. Reaper in the Overwatch League. Little bit of a meme at times.
Not very common. A little bit edgy, but that's definitely Sinatra's style. Just see what he likes on Instagram.
They gotta get the point.
Biting grenade on Sinatraa, so Reaper does get help for the damage he does. With a biting grenade, that's not possible. Custa, that's a daring resurrect. He actually gets Fact Fiction up, but it may be too late here. KSF trying to push up and trying to keep people off of his main tank, and Shax in the backside. They've combined beautifully. Kareem needs to get healing done, but he's not safe picking out right now. He needs to play this so carefully, and Trihoben doing work on the point. Agilities drops in. Rockets need to be coming here, but there's only 2 players left for the San Francisco Shock. They might be forced away again, or not. Rascal hook in. Violet now trying to deal with Kareem, but Custa and Kareem are just healing each other. Here comes Fact Fiction once more. The Orisa has returned. EMP. Shax doesn't get hooked, and Rascal can't use his abilities right now. Once more. The Valiant stare death in the face and say, not today.
I mean, think about how close these 2 fights have been, and they still have to hold for
4 minutes, by the way. 4
Like,
minutes. It's going to be a long, cold winter, Los Angeles.
Violet will go over to Moira, so you have Violet, who went to Wrecking Ball, didn't exactly work out there. So just to try and get back to make a push. It's Sinatraa and the Reaper been doing a nice job using. I know Reaper obviously gets some adjustments recently, where the teleport, it isn't like very slow. It's not exactly super telegraphed anymore. So Halo get
it's easy
behind
to
enemy
sneak
lines.
up off people, right? Agility's is trying to do that right now. Barrage, at the ground. Yep, get the ground, then super. That's fair enough. Make your mark. Second on Moth, that's a huge connection. Look at how quick he is transitioning between targets, and that has definitely taken a lot of the bite away from the Shock's push, with Rascal now being down. The self-destruct here seems questionable. Joe Herman drops it in and gets Agilities, but there's not really enough players here from San Francisco to make an attempt at capturing.
And using some of these ultimates, you may think they're going to switch things up.
The Shock are coming back though. They're in position. Oh, Sinatraa has a death blossom. Oh, KSF knocked down. I've got a flower for you, he says. Shots in, Kariba's missing. The honor is down now for the Valiant. They go for a self-destruct and get Rascal. What a huge pick-up. In fact, Fish is in trouble. Sinatraa pushes in now, sound barrier. He goes for Death Blossom. Doesn't find the kill there. His opponents were so durable, but now it's just Agility's left. KSF there. Shax has to drop in. He's picked up by a swing. Super gets KSF, and now it is McCuster. Nano boosted Mercy. It looks pretty, but it belongs on top of a Christmas tree. Wrecking Ball for Fact Fiction. He drops in, but he's too low and he has no healing. And here comes the capture. Sinatraa and Super. 4 players for the Shocker here. Shax now moving over towards the Tracer and trying to stay out of arm's reach. Sinatraa, though, wants the opposite. He wants to close the gap on KSF, and KSF knows it. Trying to avoid the Reaper. Binding grenade thrown onto Sinatraa now, so healing not possible, but he's able to shake it off. Fact Fiction down. Super traded out. Both teams will love their main takes. Sinatraa trying to get some work there. He gets the mech of KSF, but that's all. Custer's low. The healing's down. Shax now the only
Looks
one
like they
left.
actually got it now.
And he's trying to blink around the point, but no more. No chance.
There we go.
And a long fight for the San Francisco Shock. And they really force the issue there, Matt, but they get it done, and they get the 3rd map.
It was just too much time for the Valiant to overcome and get a hold on defense. The Shock with yet another interesting comp. They bring out triple tank Reaper, yet a Moira and an Ana in the mix as well, as the Valiant had no answers for these interesting looks the Shock have thrown at them today. They got to come up with one quick. The Shock 1 map away from the grand final.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Down 0-3 in the series with 1 more map left. The Valiant have to win it here. They're in trouble. They are definitely frantically trying to rally themselves here. And I mean, tough to come back from this from the Shock. You're right, you're right.
Look,
It's not over, Brixie, but
possible.
I know, I hear you, fam. There's more work to be done, though.
But sometimes, like, okay, like, when you're on the stage, right, like, you're trying to hype everybody up, tell everybody, like, it's not over, and you're getting beat bad. The other team's
My slice.
Sinatraa and Super still throwing hand warmers at each other. Like
They switched to Reaper, man. He's just bouncing around.
Sometimes you don't even believe what your teammates are telling you. Your teammates are like, yeah, we got this. Like in the back of your mind, you're like, ah, we definitely don't got this. Like you gotta wonder if you're the Valiant and you've kind of thrown everything out there. Like how do you bounce back from that? Like where do you find like the energy or like the hope in this type of matchup?
The Valiant, every game, they've had to claw their way back from a rough start to the season. Every step has been laborious, and every match they've been an underdog.
And you can't even like look. The Valiant go out here, right? And you know it'd be a tough way to go out. But they have had such a tremendous stage. Like with the stage they just had, beating the Hangzhou Spark, who the Hangzhou Spark, we consider them one of the better teams in the league. Like you put yourself back in the overall playoff race. This is just I think it's almost good for the Valiant in a way. It's a little bit of a wake-up call. Like, hey, you know, we're doing really well, but like, you know, these guys are still like, they're at the top. The Valiant come out, they're going to play 3-3. They're going to get up aggressive on the court. We see a lot of teams do this strategy.
Yeah, it might look strange that the defending team is parked outside the attacker spawn, but it's actually pretty safe for defenders to play from here, and so they get aggressive early on. The Shock, though, were ready for this. They have to be. They've seen this time and time again. Sinatra's low health in the backline, though. Keep an eye on that. With so much fighting close up. Oh, are you kidding me? An amplification matrix already, and here comes San Francisco. What a shatter! Oh,
Jeez.
no call of the Shock for nothing, Matt.
It's the beauty of having the basically only Batiste player in the league on your team. A 22-second ult charge time there for Rascal. Not too shabby. Does that allow the payload to start moving through the streets? And you see the defense play that close, because if you played this first corner here, you only give yourself one fight. If you lose the fight, they take point A. Now you see the Valiant, they're going to get another crack at this.
Super there, knew he was going to be pushed hard. They're trying to keep him alive. Graviton Surge coming out though from the Shock, trying to put Valiant in timeout. Custer's taken down early, which means the Valiant can't back away. They don't have a speed boost anymore. Two shooters. Wow, looks like the Shock's one was better. Agility's down, and San Francisco just completely refusing to be slowed down here. Every time the Valiant step up, they slap him back. Remind him who's in charge.
This is a really tough start for the Valiant, as you'll have Rascal with yet another Amp Matrix coming into the next fight. You're gonna have Sound Barrier as well. They don't have to worry about an EMP on the other side, as they make it a third fight at this and still end up giving up point A.
Look at how aggressive Super's playing. He's almost got another Earth Shatter. It's another amplification matrix for Rascal. I don't think the Graviton's enough for the Valiant, not even close. Super, another Earth Shatter. Again, when you get them that quickly, you've got to use them frivolously. Why not?
Super's getting an ult every 33 seconds. Rascal an ult every 32 seconds. Sinatra like 45. Like you have these big impact ultimates so fast over and over again. And the difference between like you know, having the Batiste in play is Kariv has a good amount of healing, right? He has a 5k healing right now, really good, to Rascal's 3k. But it's 500 damage compared to 2,500 damage, and then he's got almost 600 damage amplified as well with the Amp Matrix. There's just way more value with the Batiste.
The Valiant forcing the Shock to step up now, but Sinatra, well, he had something prepared for just such an occasion. Super gets the charge in there, but Agility's really thriving in close quarters as they're able to pick him off. Now down to Reinhardt, San Francisco Shock on the wrong side of the map. Kareem brings out the Coalescence here just to get that extra damage and Violet. Oh, okay, it's an interesting decision. Using Transcendence here, he must think his team's able to win the fight, but he might have the wrong idea.
Yeah, they try and back out to get to the high ground. You know, they wrap back around. That may have been a call there from Moth. Maybe that gets the Valiant a little bit out of position. Now they kind of get some real estate on the court. Oh, Sound Barrier goes down, yup.
Digging deep are the San Francisco Shock, and they've got deep pockets indeed. Okay, it's gonna be a fade here from Kareem to try and get out of trouble, but you can't do that now. San Francisco, relentless.
And why do you have to worry? Violet basically has another trance.
Yep.
He basically builds up another one. And then also, a lot of what they do with the Amp Matrix sometimes, they've been using it more recently for like Rascal to just put it up and shoot through, whether it's healing or damage. But what they originally started to do with the Batiste was throw down the Amp Matrix and then let Violet just volley orbs through it and farm that Transcendence quick.
Another Graviton Surge. This is absolutely insane. Amplification Matrix making it that much easier. And that payload is getting to that second checkpoint. And I need to tell you guys, it is rare, very rare to see a team with so much time still in the bank get to the final stage of the map. San Francisco Shock are wallowing in an embarrassment of riches. 4 minutes remain.
Really wonder if Shanghai will be able to
Shatter, he's gonna
overtake
get
the Shock like this. I wonder.
The Valiant had no answer today for this comp, for a lot of the stuff that the Shock had pulled out. Then you got to give some props as well to Coach Krusty of the Shock. Get them prepared for this matchup, some different looks.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's huge Fact Fiction. He was AWOL, and the rest of his team were knocked down. There was no shield to protect them. The Shock, perhaps trying to use the fact that Valiant are trying to play their style. They're trying to play aggressively. As soon as Fact Fiction gets a bubble, he goes straight ahead.
But
And that left them so vulnerable.
But this is like, the Valiant got
no.
to this point.
Oh, no.
Later. The Valiant got to this point in this stage, not doing this. Like this is how they got to 0-7. Like they got to the playoffs and they started winning games, not playing this style. They were playing around Shaxx the Sombra and whatnot. And today, the Shock have really forced them off of it in a lot of different ways. And we showed that graphic at the beginning of the series. It'll be a grab here to open things up. Grab from both teams.
Immortality got Troy down.
Well.
Oh, there's the Shadow Bomb combo. Shaxx finally breaking the deadlock. And he's giving the Valiant some room to breathe, and dare I say it, a stay of execution.
They finally get a hold, but like what we were talking about was like having the Batista in play really neutralizes that Sombra. Like we showed the graphic at the beginning. The Shock had like a 60+% team fight win rate with
What
the
is it
Batista in
about
play.
Batista does that?
It's the ability to heal from long range, put down damage, the amplification matrix, the immortality field like you see here. It's just a big difference maker, and he's the newest hero. A lot of teams still don't really know how to kind of play around it or against it.
The Valiant now trying to get aggressive like the Shock, where they are committing here to try and pressure the Shock as they push out of this small choke point, and Violet comes out and goes for a Transcendence. And
Not the ideal
well,
spot.
yeah, I mean, he's lost a few teammates already. There's no real trust to get value out of him. So Rascal switches to Brigitte here.
Yeah, they're not playing the Sombra. So, look, challenge them in the exact 3-3 mirror. Grab here used by the Valiant.
Wow,
So
this is such a mood from the Valiant right now.
they get a team fight win as they are playing as close to the spawn door as you possibly could.
They actually can't proceed any further.
Look, I've seen the Shock do this to a ton of teams on Gibraltar. I mean, if you're going to do it to them, it's going to happen to you. So, see how they break out.
Fact Fiction is stunned though. The Valiant don't mind too much about losing a fight here.
No.
The payload's been sliding back this entire time, and they have plenty of time to get back and defend. So the Shock will get a fight win. More importantly, the Shock get a fight win without having to use many ultimates.
And they start to build up towards some key ones. Rally, Transcendence, and Sound Barrier. And there's no like big grab on the other side, right? We just saw it come out. Now the Shock a little bit angry. They got it right in your spawn door. They don't want to give up this high ground.
Super moves up, boots close, shield position to protect himself and the payload. And where do the Valiant get to the payload here? Okay, they push up, but Shaxx and KSF are both on down. KSF! They need KSF! What a key part of the plan here for the Valiant now have been taken out of the picture. Nano boost on towards Shaxx. Yeah, the damage mitigation was nice, but Super can put a shield up. Oh no, he can't! He was stunned! It's okay though, the rest of the Shock got out of line of sight, and Violet comes back in now with the Transcendence. This time, it looks very good. Couldn't have been better timing. Moth now just over the top of that, throws a sound barrier down, and there's no way you're putting a scratch on San Francisco here.
Just too many support ults for the Valiant to get through at the end. It's been a dominant series from the Shock as the Valiant, the players on the stage just kind of talking a mile a minute, searching for answers as they have not had any for the things the Shock have thrown at them today. Super, Sinatraa, and Rascal hold on. You know what that lower third was saying, that they charged their ultimates in less than a minute each throughout Havana this far.
For many heroes, that is
wild.
It's really hard to say which team's going to win.
Unless it's a support hero, so just a ton of damage being done. I mean, look at it. I mean, like 40.
I mean, Shanghai was so dominant against Vancouver,
Super's getting a shadow every 44 seconds.
but I felt like they've been kind of...
4 seconds.
Yes.
I feel like Vancouver's been feeling a little bit loose lately.
Yeah, the Ant Matrix helps with some of the damage, right? You know, pumping up some of the damage numbers. The damage amplified only 1,000, but still, I mean, like you mentioned, the first half of this match, team damage-wise.
By the way, if you're watching live, feel free to leave a comment, interact with me, whatever.
Elimination difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, the eliminations we don't talk about a lot, because eliminations are basically like anytime somebody puts some damage down,
Anytime
everybody
someone
gets credit.
participates
Yeah.
in an elimination.
So for the Valiant, like you had 37 eliminations, right? 37 players, participate
From 12 kills.
off of 12 kills. The Shock, they get 46 kills, but the participation is huge, 163 elims. So really good focus fire. Everybody jumping on those
I mean,
targets.
look at this. Rascal has 28 eliminations. The next highest on the Valiant is 8 for agilities.
Yeah.
Okay, some respect here. The Shock actually give a bit of room. This is interesting. They're playing around the payload much more. This allows agilities, though, to get an angle to find a hook. I don't know if I agree with this. Here's a hook. Oh, look what he got. Moth was protected, though, and is able to skid it back to the rest of his team.
Rascal's gonna have an Amp Matrix here in a second.
Yeah, Super wants to fight as well. He's swinging hard for the fence. And with Fact Fiction down, who will protect Los Angeles from the rain of bullets?
Super can play so aggressive
How
because
does he get away with this?
you have the bubble, you have defense matrix, you have immortality field,
Healing
you have
from
the
Rascal in
healing
general
from
is just-
Rascal as well, which is unreal.
I mean, Rascal and Batiste is the highest amount of healing right now in the league from a player and hero combination. It's just mental.
And you already have Moth and Violet, who are incredible as well. Why not? It's such a higher impact hero than putting him on Brig.
The Valiant take a left turn at Albuquerque and end up behind the Shock. Shatter for Super here. Thought he could try and catch them unaware. It didn't work, but this amplification matrix may just be the job done. Yeah, Shaq's now getting desuited here, so no defense matrix to stop this damage through, but Rascal is run over. Custer's able to deal with him. A coalescence here, though, is interesting. Moth may have gone a little bit too far. No, he got healed up in a pinch. He's able to back away. The Shock have lost some players, though, Matt. Can they really stay this far forward?
What they'll do is they'll probably speed boost out for a second, go get Rascal back into the fight, then come back. So you may get a fight on this corner. Rascal's coming back into the play. So
2.5 minutes. The Valiant need to really make the push here. Super gets away. Look, Immortality Field immediately. It's like clockwork. And Sinatra goes for the Graviton Surge. All right, whole hog from Agilities is going to force the Shock back, but doesn't find any eliminations. It's just a way of staving off further damage. But the Valiant are already down a player. Big shadow though. Troikovic and Violet knocked to the ground. Super trying to follow up. He has a shadow, but he saved us so far until now. KSM and Fact Fiction down and Troikovic's bomb. How do they coordinate that? It looks like Super just shattered the moment he got to his feet.
it is so difficult for the Valiant to get anything going. Kareev, maybe play some Widowmaker here, we'll see. Just trying to get a pick, some changes come through. Now Agilities will play Brigitte. Kareev will play the Ana. But look, I mean, you're going to be walking into another grab. And they're able, with the Amp Matrix and the Immortality Field, they're able to hold on to this Sound Barrier and Transcendence forever. You never see them waste some of these.
The Valiant are going to get through this map. They've got to show us something we've never seen before, and it has to be now. 2 support ults for the San Francisco Shock. Here's the Graviton from KSF. They're able to get rid of Sinatra early. There's also a grab for the Shock side of things. They just have a little bit more gumption. Oh, man. It's looking grim now, Matt. How do the Valiant get out of this now?
I mean, do you consider playing like Sombra here? But the time on the clock, you're so far behind.
You usually need at least a minute to get an EMP.
And you'd be, well, look, you would be giving up your ultimate that you have right now in a self-destruct. And, you're going to have to maybe make another switch, like get a bar in for some damage. You may be giving up too much. You're going to use the self-destruct to try and move in.
Bomb gets Rascal's Immortality Field and nothing more. KSF in trouble. There has to be a Transcendence to keep him alive. You can see how much the Valiant value keeping the Zarya around. But now the Amplification Matrix comes out. A Custer is blown to smithereens. Violet sends a salvo of orbs through the window, and they hit so hard. Rascal now thought about the high ground, but there was an enemy up there. Fact Fiction goes for the charge here, but Super was waiting for him. He's got him on download. And Fact Fiction gets punched out by Sinatra. 17 seconds remain, and the Shock remain resolute, and they remain unbroken. Graviton Surge here. Sound Barrier for the Los Angeles Valiant. They're digging deep. This is all.
Shock looks way too good.
It's big. It is huge. Agilities is stunned up against the wall. KSF desperately trying to keep himself alive with the bubble, but that's it. That's all she wrote. Lock, Stock, and San Francisco Shock. They're hurtling towards our stage finals at the speed of sound.
And sometimes you look at a scoreboard and you see a 4-0 and you're like, oh, that's a close one. This ain't it, fam. This one was a blowout from start to finish. And I think it's just the Shock coming in. Everyone's talking about the Valiant, how well they've been playing lately. The Shock come in, they make a statement. They advance to the Stage 3 finals, playing in every stage finals this year.
Nothing but grim determination in this team, and it was a rough season 1, but we don't talk about that. Big changes to this roster. The San Francisco Shock skating through once again, a fated encounter, this time against the Dragons. And they're ready for it. Absolutely. For the Valiant, though, you have to be pleased with the season from them. They get into the stage playoffs after a 0-7 first stage, and they're on an upward trajectory. The Shock have just spent more time at the top. They know how it works up here. Let's now head down to the floor, though, and hear from the mastermind of the Shock with Mika.
Thanks, guys. We got Moth down here. Give a round of applause for Moth and the San Francisco Shock, everybody. Some nice applause. So earlier this season, you guys, were really, really dominant, and then the stage, you were struggling a little bit against Sombra Comps, but you personally have improved greatly on your support role and have really brought out some clutch sound barriers to save your team. So can you walk us through some steps of how you personally have improved?
I mean, we have an excellent coaching staff on Shock. I've worked a ton with them. This meta has been super unpredictable, so I've had to change my style a ton, but I've adapted well, I think, and the coaches have really helped me do that.
Absolutely, and this is officially your third stage finals. It is the 3-peat. You have not missed a single one. So what would you say is the key to San Francisco Shock's success?
I mean, our teamwork, our trust in each other, our coaching system, it all works together so well.
Absolutely, and we have a little something special for you. You guys won officially the California Cup once again, so there you go. Pose with your cup, congratulations. That's all we have down here. I'm gonna try and eat some
Oh, the cup was in? Huh.
Thank you very much, Mika. I'm sure Moth is pleased with that one, but there is a trophy he's got his eyes set on just a little bit more, and that, of course, is our season finals trophy. He'd love to be holding that one aloft at the end of the year in Philadelphia. But, I mean, Moth was incredible this series. The way he didn't shut down Shaxx's EMPs. They still happened, but he was able to make them feel like a pleasant breeze with those sound barriers.
Yeah, and I think with how good Moth and Violet were with getting out their sound barriers or transcendences, it forced them to switch off of the Sombra, which is really what Valiant has done throughout the stage to get to this point. They have played really good damage dealers in Sombra.
And many teams who preferred to play a more standard style have struggled against the Sombra, but now the Shock may have figured out a way around it. I mean, they'll be going up against another very good Sombra team tomorrow, but we'll get to that in just a second. I definitely think it's worth talking about, a lot of the top players out of the Shock. The Valiant, though, have to be pleased with this. I want to reiterate that because obviously the fans had a tough start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, where this team was, where they did not win a game for a stage, to now getting to the stage playoffs, winning a game in the stage playoffs, and putting yourself back in the overall playoff picture. I think the Valiant, this is just one little bump in the road. I think you take like the next, few days, you regroup, and then you come back and you start to make a stage overall season playoff push at that moment in time.
Let's now present to you our player of the match, brought to you by Omen by HP. And I'm going to give it to him. What a big impact this guy had in this series. It's Rascal showing us all the looks, Matt. The Batiste was amazing. You saw some Farah from him.
And this one is close. Like, we were talking about, maybe it's Moth, maybe it's Violet. But I just think on your overall impact on the series, I think the supports, getting those ultimates out at the right time is crucial. It's huge. But the ability to have Rascal play a hero that nobody else in the league plays and play it at a high level, that is the biggest difference in this series. It's been the biggest difference for them in the playoffs. And I think he comes out with yet another huge series with the Batiste pick.
And the Shock realized they had to shut down Shaxx and deal with the Sombra threat. How do you shut down this player? I mean, if you're Shanghai, surely this has got to be weighing on your mind.
Oh, I mean, what do you do if you're the Dragons? I think the Dragons, you need to come out and you need to have that DM Sombra and Ding Farah in play. We can take another look at the bracket, see how we got here. But
look at this.
Shock Dragons, 1 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be crazy. But I think the Dragons, you know what they're going to do. They're going to come out. They're going to play a lot of the stuff that the Valiant like to pick. And we saw how it worked for the Valiant here today. I think, obviously, I would grade the Dragons a little bit higher. They don't come in as high of a seed as the Valiant, but I think since we've seen Ding on the Farah and DM on the Sombra really change things up for Shanghai, it's how do they deal with, the support core for the Shock? Because if you let, Violet get those transcendences off, the sound barriers come out, Batiste pick, they're going to be able to take it.
What a stage playoffs. It's been possibly the greatest in Overwatch League history, but we're not done quite yet. Coming up at Watchpoint, we're going to talk about the Dragons' big match earlier on, and then, of course, the San Francisco Shock, because the stage is set, baby. Stage final coming at you after this. We'll see you in a bit. Enjoy some Watchpoint.
water.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
This is going to be the best stage playoffs we've ever had in Overwatch League.
The NYXL, they want to finish this right now. Vancouver Titans going back to the stage finals.
The spark will not be stopped.
Houston continues their tear through stage 3.
Yeah.
San Francisco Shock looking to repeat. Dynasty, they make me look like a fool.
And the Shanghai Dragon, they are going to the stage 3 playoffs.
The Los Angeles Valiant are the first team to deliver a loss to the Vancouver Titans in the regular season. Welcome to the Overwatch League. Say goodnight.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from the Blizzard Arena here in Los Angeles, California. We're going to get into the stage 3 semifinals. Hex, this is what we've all been waiting for. And Josh Sideshow, he opened it up right there, that bumper at the start. The most competitive playoff bracket that we've had yet in the league. I don't think he's over-exaggerating.
It's been a great stage. We've seen a lot of different styles come out. The first stage, we had a lot of similar styles, but now these teams are forming their own identity. There's the bracket. That's how we got here. A little bit of an upset, an 8-over-1. The Dragons took down the Excelsior, who looked lost against their composition. The Titans steamrolled through the Outlaws, which wasn't a huge surprise. It was a little surprising how little defense that the Outlaws were able to put up against it. But I think if you looked at this bracket, you could have predicted it. You could have predicted any team in the quarters to come out. That's how competitive it's been.
I just had this image of the Houston Outlaws. They forgot their ammo belts. They showed up with their 6 shooters. And then nothing came out. And the Titans were like, bumpers just smashing with the hammer. That's essentially what happened. It was a brutal beatdown, and the Houston Outlaws couldn't quite hang. So the Titans are looking ship-shape, but the Shanghai Dragons, turns out they've got some fangs.
Yeah, I mean, both of these semifinals are really interesting because it's going to be a clash of styles, but the Shanghai style has been what they've been running a great deal of lately. They like running the Pharah almost exclusively, and then you've got a guy, world-class Widowmaker. DM on the Widow has been crushing as well. Gamzu has really stepped it up. He has to solo tank a lot of the time, so there's a lot of compelling micro matchups going in here, but Shanghai, I mean, that 3-1's even a little not telling. They dominated New York. New York looked lost.
New York did look lost that match. It was a bit of a frustrating one.
So we talked about the clash of styles, and something has to give here today because the Titans with Sombra and D.Va versus Pharah, non-over 50% win rate. The Dragons with Pharah versus the Sombra D.Va also struggle. So both of these teams run a very specific style, and neither of these teams is good against the opposing style. So, I mean, someone's going to have to be above over 50% in a win rate at some point.
I was just hoping that you were going to sing it, Hex.
Something's got to give.
And yes, let's not waste any time at all. We're going to get into the match now. We'll bring our first team to the stage, the Shanghai Dragons. There we go. Hi, Shanghai Dragons in the semifinals of a stage playoffs, Hex.
Who would have believed it if you told me that last
when I was watching this, I had like work during the next morning, and I have to like get up at 2:30 in the morning.
And they are a frightening team because DPS.
And I kept on watching this match. I did not get back to bed until like 9:30 or probably like 10 p.m. And based on that, I probably think I only got like 6-5 hours of sleep.
For even the Pharah, Youngjin busts out the Doomfist, and Vancouver's almost never played against the Doomfist. Youngjin could be the X factor here today.
So he's in the starting 6. I'm hoping we will see a bit of the Doom. Always exciting. The guys who are not hoping to see that are going to be the team making their way to the stage now, the Vancouver Titans.
It's been a tough stage for the Titans. They lost a match. Before that, though, undefeated except to the Shock in the playoffs. This has been one of the most dominant teams in all of Overwatch, dare I say Overwatch history at the professional level. No one's really playing up to their caliber. They're going to have all they can handle today in the sky against the unique style of the Shanghai Dragons. But Stitch when he's on this team, they have like a 75% team fight win rate. It's been a small sample size, but oh, he's putting the fear of God in his opponents.
Absolutely, you can see it in his eyes right there. They're burning bright, Hex. He's looking for damage, he's looking for kills, and that's exactly what he delivers. He has definitely made an impact for the Vancouver Titans. He stepped in for Sovasu, but that doesn't mean we don't see Sovasu play.
And yet, it didn't win them a win.
So gets subbed in here and there for the Titans, so we'll be keeping an eye out for that because I'm a bit of a fan of Sovasu as well. The guy's a monster in his own right. It's just that Stitch, when you're going to make this switch up, he's the guy you have to turn to.
I think Stitch will be in the roster all day today. You probably sub out Janu, bring in Somasu. Do you want to run Diva? Do you want to run this? But this is one of the micro matches I'm looking for too, because Stitch just absolutely shut down the opposing Hammond, the opposing Wrecking Ball. The Shanghai Dragons are going to play a ton of Hammond, a ton of Wrecking Ball in these compositions, so that's one of the small things to look for. Also of note, when you see Stitch in the kill feed, see who's helping him out, because he finishes a lot of Twilight's kills that he starts.
Great communication with Vancouver Titans. That's what it takes to be at the top. Let's take a look at our map set presented by Toyota. Quite a few of them there.
Yeah.
If you're used to tuning in, you're seeing 4. Look at that, Hex. We got potential 7 on the board.
Yeah, first to 4, we'll take this and move on to the Stage 3 finals. The first pick belongs to the higher seed, which is the Vancouver Titans. No shock that they're going to run on Ilios. It's one of their better control maps. It's a map that if you get the particular stage right, you can run a much stronger 3-3 composition. But Vancouver's not going to be surprised what Shanghai does. And on the other side, this one all about execution today. You're not throwing curveballs. Both these teams...
It's hard to believe. Like, everyone was really expecting Vancouver to win this.
At least right out the gates, hoping for it from the Shanghai Dragons. They are kind of making a name for themselves here, running the more aggressive strategies, trying to stray away from what is so standard for the past 3 stages. But that's right, time to get hyped. We're getting into the first map of this semifinal. Shanghai Dragons, Vancouver Titans on control.
Doomfist can be so good on Ilios too, because a majority of the fighting happens around walls. And so when you knock someone into a wall, they take extra damage. That's why you see a lot of Doomfist on this point, and also perhaps if we get over to the Lighthouse as well. Very good hero there. A nice hack from Stitch. Stitch does so much individually. My God.
So clutch, so clutch. That's the perfect start here for the Vancouver Titans. The point unlocks as the kills come through. The Shanghai Dragons forced to run back to spawn. Vancouver Titans will get the first point control, and so they will start the climb. 100%, that's what we're looking for at the top of the screen there.
So anyone can be a Sombra that's an EMP bot. You farm it up and you get your ultimate, then you use it. And there's a lot of Sombras in the league that actually play that style. Stitch is so good at the individual play, but also when he gets that EMP, they win like 80+% of their team fights. It's ridiculous. He does everything on the Sombra. Again, small sample size, but it's been ultra impressive.
He's got the mind of an assassin, Hex.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, shield for you. But the healing coming through, it took quite a while to find that kill, and excellent Bionade goes down as well, putting Vancouver Titans a bit on the back foot. Janu gonna get demeched, but the rest of them look like they're stabilizing, and losing Youngjin is not gonna help anything here for the Shanghai Dragons.
A little surprising they were even able to get that resurrection off, but 2 will fall, and now Ding reigns supreme in the sky. Negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full.
4 just like that, when it's looking done and dusted for his team. That's the kind of individual performance we're going to be looking for here, Hex. The standout plays, DM and Dig, just rocking them. So 48% on the board for the Vancouver Titans. Shanghai Dragons showing that they've got some fight in them.
DM has gone off of the Widowmaker here, is going to play the Sombra to help support his team. So he's a little behind as far as EMP charge. He came out the first fight on Widow. Stitch now with that EMP ready to go. Going to try to set up an angle, but they have to get past this, well, wall in the sky that is Ding.
Oh, that's one way to do it. Hey, there's an EMP. Oh, is he going to go down? The healing once again. So good on the side of the Shanghai Dragons. There's the counter EMP coming out, and it's DM getting the DMAC on Janu. Slime goes down as well. And the Shanghai Dragons, they just executed that so well. You got to give it to Luffy, though. The guy's a madman. Nobody seems to die, even when Vancouver Titans are calling for the shot.
Yeah, we've not really given the backline of the Shanghai Dragons enough credit, but that's a 5-man EMP. You're going to win that fight. Bumper can't primal. You don't have Rally to give everybody armor through that either. The only person not hit was Twilight, but you only have a single ultimate target to use that on to keep them alive, so smart to back out, but Shanghai is taking the lead.
Oh, we got a boost going in. Bumper going to try and make it. Oh, that's such a sick sleep again. There you go. You go for the boost on your Winston. You want him to get in there and wreak havoc, and he's just taking a nap, sleeping on the job, Hex. For shame.
Are they going to toss in this Primal, trying to pick targets on the back line? This is not going to end up in a kill as long as Translocator's out. Yep. Now you see me, now you don't. Not the greatest ultimate.
Sound barrier used here by the Titans as well. They are looking to try and end this fight, but another, once again, the EMP. Monstrous on the side of the Shanghai Dragons. DM just connecting with everyone, no fun allowed, no abilities. And Ding gonna drop to the floor as well. Positioning wasn't terrible for him, but he gets slept. Still in this, however. 90% has been crossed here for the Shanghai Dragons. We're on the side of one.
Power 8 LP, they said. Just shoot her out of the sky, they said.
They just don't have it.
They've never been able to keep all their healers alive at the same time. Hoxel even has to switch off on Brigitte. They're getting in here. Shanghai only needs to win a single more fight, and they keep racking up the kills.
So solid here from the Shanghai Dragons. A totally different beast that it doesn't look like the Titans can come to the grips to. It is going to be the first point going the way of the Shanghai Dragons. An excellent start here. Do we get to call them the underdogs? Because, I mean, force of habit, Hex. I kind of want to just be like, the underdogs in this matchup. And they're looking fantastic.
They were the 8th seed. They were the last team to clinch a spot at our Atlanta homestand by virtue of beating Philadelphia.
I guess technically, right? They are the 8th seed going into it. So, you know, any team going up against the Titans with their record,
yeah,
you got to call them the underdog.
I don't know. Our stats guy extraordinaire ran the simulations, and it only comes out that Vancouver wins about 60% of the time, which is one of the lowest possible. But DM came to play today. We talked about Stitches, Sombra. DM got 2 EMPs. 10 people caught up in those 2 EMPs. He got 5 each time. He's charging at about 1 minute each time. So, I mean, Ding used to play the Sombra for this team. DM has now picked it up. And Shanghai off to a 1-0 start on our first map.
And look at this, triple DPS, let's go. Youngjin ready to open it up, he's got the fist. And yep, gets to kind of take control of the high ground here, gets to kind of hang around on the edges and just wait for that to happen. Ding, once again, connecting faces with rockets. The guy's a monster all the way over the top. Finding the first kill to kick things off, and it's the Vancouver Titans now who are caught on the back foot. Very curious to see. Not used to seeing this sort of situation here from the Titans, that they are struggling at the start of a match. Usually they're the ones. Oh, look at that. Chucks him off the side.
So close.
No, never mind.
Well, the Titans need to get first control with this composition because it's very difficult to retake in the face of all this damage going on. But when you lose Twilight that early, there's almost no way you can try to fight inside the point, use the ceiling to your advantage. And right now, they're just not getting the key entry picks that they need.
Oh, positioning is so good here as well.
Bumper's gonna die.
Bumper goes down. He tried to make something happen. Not meant to be. Now Youngjin's gonna join the fight. Could be looking for the punch. Once it comes off.
It's like the Dragons just knew exactly how to counter this current meta that appears to be changing in their favor. It's just unreal.
And that is Vancouver Titans flipping the point, but now they need to win the fight.
Well, it's really smart play for the Titans to play on the point here because it kind of mitigates some of the damage from the sky. So you get on that point, and now, what do you have to fight it? If you get enough bodies on there, you're going to have the advantage on the ground. The angles aren't very good for the Pharah to even put in splash damage over into this house. So very nice play. Force the fight onto the point. Youngjin, I think if he would have got the Brigitte into the wall there, might have gotten the kill. Didn't happen. He's going to go to a Brigitte of his own to give his team some extra healing. No other changes really coming out. And right now, since the DM is now over to the Sombra, Stitch is going to have EMP advantage. On paper, EMP advantage usually means a 1 fight. Oh, that's brutal.
That's not the way to start things here. Hoxall going down. You're not going to have that crowd control that Brigitte brings into the table. There's the EMP from Stitch. Trying to put the pressure on, but Slime is going to get deleted next. And Shanghai Dragons, 2 key kills going their way. The DMEC happening as well. We'll see if anything comes from that. Well played on the angles. Nearly gets it. Bumper so close.
Bumper just getting bopped around right now. Primal Rage melts away. Shanghai regains control of the point.
Oh, looking so good. Shanghai Dragons, no time wasted. 58% for the Vancouver Titans. And it's the Shanghai Dragons now starting their climb once again. 36% and counting. So on to the Titans. As far as the ults are concerned, they've got the 2 initiate ults, or at least the main one, which is going to be that rally on Hoxall. So when they do decide it's time to go, they've got that to use. But now Ding's got the barrage. He could try and slam the door on him.
He's fine and content to just poke away here. There's not really a lot of pressure to be put on him. It's going to be up to Twilight, just put a little pressure on him and maybe get a hack, but he's playing the angles really well.
That's making it difficult. You see Vancouver Titans. I think you said this the other day, right, Hex? You know that justice can't reign when you're inside?
It cannot. That is true.
They're doing a good job. Now they're having to cross that scary open ground, try and make their way onto the point. Gamsu's got some mines there ready and waiting for him. Gonna make it difficult to fight, and once you're out in the open, exactly, you see it. There's the EMP over the top. Two get caught in it, but not Slime. He gets the sound barrier off. We're trading back and forth. We lose Twilight. That's Ding with the deletion of the main healer for the Titans. But he goes down in the meantime.
Well, it seems that the plan against the Titans for Shanghai is they're not going to let Vancouver's best player beat him, and you may think that's Bumper, but it's actually Twilight. They have solo barraged Twilight several times. They are taking him out of the fight as soon as possible. Someone else has to step up, because they're not going to let Twilight beat him.
Oh, there's the deletion. There it is. John chucked off the side. This is looking to me like it's going to be a Shanghai win on the first map. Hex, they've got everything going their way. The Vancouver Titans, they're trying to bring it back. Bumper with a kill on Youngshin, but Ding is still holding on the point itself. Point blank rockets, that slime gone, overtime Suburban, and is anybody here to touch? Looks like Bumper, yes, barely makes it on, but he's walking into the mines. He can't hang around here.
Oh, he's so low HP as well. They have to wait for Jono. Jono gets on the point though.
They're still looking for this fight. He's trying to clear some of these points as well. Will get D-Mech though, so Jono is vulnerable, but the rest of the Shanghai Dragons, nowhere to be found. It's Gamsu, he throws himself on there, instantly hacked, instantly deleted, and that is going to be the Vancouver Titans with the flip. 60% for them. But the Shanghai Dragons are sitting at a comfortable 99, so all they have to do is play patient and play off their offense.
And honestly, the whole series is really close, but the Dragons just simply really outplayed them. They were honestly a lot more smarter than what Vancouver was doing.
Vancouver comes up big.
See him just making sure they're on their toes. You know, gotta pay attention. Huxtall's hanging around here. If you do that again, DM, it's gonna get nasty for you. But there's the EMP over the top. 3 hacked on the side of the Dragons. Ding over the top with the barrage, though. Just a total wipe for the Titans. Titans trying to make the plays, and it's just not meant to be. And this is going to be the start here for the Shanghai Dragons. The dream beginning to this series for them. They will take the lead 1-0 in this first of 4.
Overwatch is a game all about economics, all usage, and mostly efficiency. DM more efficient. 4 people hacked every EMP. Stitch only got 2 every time, and I believe that was the difference.
That was such a clean win for the Dragons. And yes, the Vancouver Titans, it turns out they do bleed, Hex. We'll find out how much right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
September, save the date. You do not want to miss it. The grand finals, well, the actual championship here for the Overwatch League 2019 season. Guys, we're going to be getting into the match in just a moment, but our insider, Emily Tang, she was able to catch up with the Shanghai Dragons. She was able to get some insight on what actually happened in their last match.
Thanks, Emler. Now, the Shanghai Dragons were the first ever 8th seed to beat the #1 seed. Yesterday's win brought them to their first semifinal appearance here today. And the Dragons are not resting on their laurels. they have their sights set on season playoffs next. But first, they have to get through the Vancouver Titans here in Stage 3 playoffs. Now, I talked to the team to see how they were feeling about the match, and they said they're not afraid of the Titans because a victory against such a dominant team would be that much sweeter. Shanghai has also been doing their homework by studying how to best exploit the Titans' weaknesses, and will be choosing their maps accordingly. So, watch out, Vancouver. They're up 1-0, so it looks like that research is paying off. Sumler and Hex?
And it definitely did.
Thank you, Emily, and I figured it out, Hex, because I'm used to throwing to Intel, you know, the Intel by Insight, Insight by Intel, right? And I'm like, but Emily doesn't do those. My brain was just revolting for a second there. And it happens, it happens. You get into a habit, and well, tough to break. 1-0 lead right now for the Shanghai Dragons. They've hit the ground running, and they are definitely walking all over the Vancouver Titans right now.
If you're a Titans fan, the sky is not falling, though. Vancouver control maps, you know, it's not necessarily their style. Control maps, in my opinion, generally usually favor the DPS compositions. Pharah is always good on control maps. You think of Oasis, you think about a lot of different maps that the DPS can be very strong on. So it's not stunning. I think even as we go to the next semi, Valiant taking control. Control is an outlier. Kind of throw it out there. It can be very chaotic. And now as we go forward, they become more standard, and now, since the Titans lost, it's their next map pick. We do have a substitution. Xiaominsu will be coming in for Janu, so it looks like they're going away from the D.Va onto the Zarya. Pretty telegraphed move.
Yeah, this is what we've seen last time from Vancouver Titans as well, so it does seem like this is the game plan for the Titans. They're going to be sticking to it. Xiaominsu, a real threat, a monster Zarya when he plays it, so just adding to the firepower here on the side of the Vancouver Titans. They want to just get in here and just slam Shanghai Dragons. They cannot let Shanghai Dragons go up on that 2-0 lead, because then it starts to stretch away from you and it gets a bit dicey. You're going to have a lot more work ahead of you if you're the Titans in this semifinal. So, you know, looks like Xiaominsu's ready to go. We got the thumbs up from the ref. Stitch, don't get down on yourself, Stitch. It's tough. DM's popping off.
Vancouver has a very good map record on most of these hybrid maps, so they can kind of pick whichever one they want. Maybe Eichenwald, because the Dragons aren't great on it. They have a below 500 record on that map over the course of the season. Bumper not really smirking as much. The other side, Gamsu has that trademark smirk on as well.
That's a good point to make here, Hex, and we're going to remind you all, if you're just tuning in, the high seed in the match got to pick the first map, but unlike in the regular season, here we actually have a map pick ban veto. So we will have the losing team get to pick the next map in the series, and it looks like it's going to be Numbani. So the Vancouver Titans have chosen to go for Numbani here as their hybrid choice.
Yeah, they've got a lot of good records on most of these maps, so they could have picked whatever. They've been dominant throughout the season, so they have all their picks, so to speak. Ilios was not a surprise. It was like the lesser of all three evils, because Nepal is not good for the style that Vancouver likes to run, and neither is Oasis, of course. Oasis is just a great far map. So we'll see what Vancouver wants to run. This is their map choice. They are down 0-1 in our first to 4 in this semifinal. Winner goes to the Stage 3 finals.
And we've got the Trout feeding us information, Hex. He's got us on a hook. He just won't let go. It's going to be Stitch, Bumper, and Hawksaw. Apparently, they have not lost on this map since 2017. So maybe that is an indicator as to why Vancouver Titans chose to go here. It's home turf. It's ground that they're comfortable on.
Yeah, I mean, 2017, that's a pretty impressive streak to not lose on a map. They, of course, 5-0 during this season on Numbani. And let's see what the teams actually want to roll out on. Could be very difficult to tell early on. Defensively, actually, Xiaominsu on a Soldier 76. Always been a very good Soldier 76 map. Automatic high ground for the defense, put out a lot of damage. You hang out there with your Ana up top, keep her safe. Everyone else jumps in, creates chaos. And Shanghai is going to make adjustments after they've scouted this one out. Windmaker going to come in from DM.
Pharah.
Pharah Doomfist. Let's go.
I am so down. You get onto that high ground, you have that mobility from the fist. And of course, you got Ding up here, just already putting Bumper on notice. That's just going to be feeding ult energy over to Twilight, however, so you have to be careful about that. You got to put some pressure on Twilight. Can't get Twilight.
Gamsu's in trouble. Gamsu's in trouble. He got hacked, and then Bumper comes in with the finishing blow.
Thing is, though, oh, that sleep unfortunately got interrupted. That could have been sick. Bumper, though, this is the shot exactly. That's what I'm talking about. You lose your main tank, whatever. If you can get a few headshots, you're still in this fight.
Well, now you've lost your main heals as well. They're really focusing down. Twilight, Xiaominsu will fall afterwards. This is all sorts of trouble for Vancouver right now.
They've got some real pressure going on right now. Oh, so close to hitting the shot there. TM looking for it. Stitch gonna have to back off. Slime got the anti-heal nade, and yep, Youngshin gonna collect that kill. And TM now, you're just staring down the barrel of that sniper rifle. How are you gonna get up to the point and contest? you're running into headshots the entire way.
Now, first point is definitely over here unless they want to come back in, maybe get Stitch's EMP. They do seem like they want to fight. They come in an off angle, but now with Stitch down, what's your win condition?
Nothing. You got nothing. The Vancouver Titans just got rolled over. You lost Gamsu early, but then when you have these players here, DM, the mechanically gifted, the DPS players who can just turn fights around, so excited to get Widows back in the fight. Just means that it's not over yet. You get a few kills, hey, your team's right back in that fight. Vancouver Titans now, they've been put on notice.
Very much like the first map, they are just focusing down Twilight. Like I said, a lot of people look at Bumper as the main component of the team. The only reason you look at it that way is because Twilight keeps him alive. Probably the best flex support we have in all of the Overwatch League, and I don't say that lightly because we have Jonak and the likes of several great players, but they're going after, never mind.
You gotta check corners. Check your corners. You look left and right before crossing out onto the balcony. There you go, Youngjin pastes him, and that is going to be just so much progress made here for Shanghai Dragons, practically for free at this point. Vancouver Titans, what are they doing? They need to figure out how to get out here and contest. That's a good way to start, Haksal. I mean, I'm wondering, did Ding just get too greedy there? What was he doing in this?
Should not really have been in that stairway, and that's a interesting kill. Not going to be able to,
way to put it.
Well, you know, that's the parlance of the professional. Ambitious, interesting. So they're going to have to regroup here because they didn't get the resurrection off on Ding, so they're just going to back off. Meteor Strike comes in, tries to gain some positioning here, just makes Stitch translocate.
A little bit of the zone. But finally, the Vancouver Titans at least are able to get it here. Never mind. DM with the headshot on Twilight. There you go. That's how you kick off the party. Stitch trying to turn it around. Monster EMP on his side. Ding immediately eliminated, but they need more of a follow-up here. Sominsu trying to get in. Looking for the Helix. Doesn't quite find it, though. Youngjin survives. Still, DM, man, he's just a constant threat. Gamsu gets chucked off the side like an old tin can, and that's going to be it. Vancouver Titans will stabilize.
Sends Gamsu to the glue factory over the edge there, and they're going to be able to stabilize this. I wonder if Sominsu's going to switch. Still a good point for Soldier 76, but yeah, with that high ground, you're still just putting yourself closer to the forest. Yominsu's going to go to a Tracer instead. Rally to come out to try to put some more armor on the point.
Yeah, they get the contest. You just throw him in there first. DM, the constant threat. DM, the constant threat. Twilight gone, Sominsu as well. But it's just a little bit too late, it seems. They're still in this, but the rest of his team need to get in position to support.
Well, you go to the Tracer to try to put some pressure on the Widow, but at this level, these Widows are so good. He hits a flick shot, then he gets Twilight again right after it. DM putting on a clinic.
Oh, you looked for it. So close. DM is such a boss. All right. So 1-0 lead right now for the Shanghai Dragons. 2.5 minutes on the clock. And now we're going to have the sound barrier initiate coming in here for the Vancouver Titans. Looking to buy more time. Looking to put the pressure on the Shanghai Dragons. But Shanghai Dragons, they're able to back off safely. And that's the Vancouver Titans. Yes, they got some ground. They burned some time off the clock, but that was a big ult to use. See if they can figure it out. We have DM actually going for the change now. So the Widow, no longer an option. We will have the Sombra back in play. But Hexy pointed this out earlier. He was owning on the Sombra on the first map.
Yeah, played very, very well, but now they're going to be behind it because Stitch is going to have the EMP first.
There it is, there it is, there it is. The double from Ding. Direct rockets as well. Nearly picks up the follow-up. That was so close, but he did the damage. He gets the afterthought kill on Stitch. Nowhere to run or hide. And that's the second point getting picked up for the Shanghai Dragons. 3 minutes on the clock for them. Added time, and now they're on the home stretch. Vancouver Titans backs to the wall, Hex.
So sometimes when you get solo ulted, you take it as a compliment. Like, oh, I'm that big of a threat that you have to solo ult me? I believe that's the 4th time Twilight's gotten solo barrage. And this time, you're sick of it. You're just sick of it. You're putting so much pressure on him. And I love the strategy of Shanghai. We're just going to take out Twilight. What can you do after it?
Oh, trying to bait. There it is. EMP through. Twilight once again taking out. This time it wasn't even a rocket. He got punched in the face. Ding is just wreaking havoc now in the back line. They've got nowhere to run on the side of the Titans. They're getting forced back. Rocket after rocket just chasing them back to spawn. And so much progress being made here for the Shanghai Dragons.
They just let the Pharaoh do whatever he wanted.
Rolling through. Stitch is now forced to get off of the Sombra. He's going to McCree, now to Widow to try to get that shot. To do something about Ding's Pharah.
You got to make some kind of a play here. No pressure on Ding, and they are just nearly going to walk right up to it. Haksal with the bubble is able to get out onto the point. He will contest it. We lose DM, but Ding takes out Spawn.
Look, Twilight's in Spawn because he doesn't want to be caught under this again.
Once again, and then, hey, I'll just go ahead and take that, no problem. Sominsu gone. Youngjin hanging out on the point. We'll see how long he's going to survive this. Gamsu working with them, and that is the stun combo on a Bumper. He's out of the fight. Dude, Shanghai Dragons, they just look unstoppable right now, Hex. The Vancouver Titans can't adjust. 3 points picked up for the Shanghai Dragons and the Vancouver Titans. Some of these players, Bumper, Huxall, they might be getting handed their first loss on the map.
They haven't had a proper answer to the Pharah or Mercy. They haven't pushed the ground hard enough to make the Pharah Mercy not be a factor in the sky. And you can see it right now on the faces of the Vancouver Titans that they don't have an answer. And this is the first time I've seen them look a little bit worried. Second half of Nubani, right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Alright everyone, I'm gonna go offline for an hour or two, but don't worry. When the Overwatch League comes up with the Watchpoint show, I'll be back streaming live for you to give you all the reaction and analysis and whatever. Alright, I'm Spark, and I'll see you all next time.